Hey everyone, it's Michael GoosebumpsFan. I hope you're doing well today. This is the first book review I'm doing since I returned after the Q&A and everything else. I'm really hoping that you guys enjoyed the Q&A. I'm so thankful to be back. I had a blast talking with you guys and answering some of your questions. Even so, I have a book review today from, mainly requested a lot from certain people here recently, but one of the big ones that have been asking me to read this for like months is Grayson the Goosebumps Kid, whose other channel where he plays video games is called Eerie Gamers. So I wanted to give him a shout out. I can't remember the other people who've been asking me. It's been a lot of people asking me on different videos recently while I've been gone, but I've had a lot of people asking. I figured I'd go ahead and try it out sometime. I try to get like a few bad books out of the way, whilst also then having a haul of the books I actually want to read, and then trying to have them sporadically. I don't want to just read all the ones I want to read, and then have some really bad ones to end the whole channel on at some point. Not end the channel, but you know what I mean. Anyway, this one is Goosebumps, a classic book, the old 90s series, book number 13, Piano Lessons Can Be Murder. I never wanted to read this. Ever. I didn't know anything about it when I was growing up. I'd see the cover, and I thought the cover was kind of weird. It's one of the lesser Tim Jacobus covers, in my opinion. And also, it kind of, to me, spoils one of the really creepy parts of the actual book, or a couple of creepy parts in some ways. But I gotta tell you, man, I had a lot of people telling me, like, this is really good. I think you'd like this, Michael. And I finally checked it out. I finally read it last night. I read it in one day, as a matter of fact, which is not usual for me. I've been reading a lot here lately since I've gotten off social media. I've had a lot more productivity in my writing and also my reading. And I'm telling you, man, that was great for me. Yesterday I read like a little bit of this before I went to work, maybe 20 pages or so. Last night I read the rest, and I tell you, I was sucked into this book. It ain't a perfect read by any means. Even the score I'm going to give it at the end of the book review is probably going to seem a little low. But I tell you, man, I want to thank Grayson and everybody else out there who recommended this to me constantly and really wanted me to read it and review it, because this was a really solid read. I had a really good time with this. I did not know going into this that this was a ghost story. I didn't know that. I didn't know this was like a haunted piano story mixed in with what it becomes later on as well. It's a very interesting Goosebumps book because it's kind of a good mixture. You know, some Goosebumps books are just leaning more on the scary side, some are leaning more on the funnier, humorous side. This one's a really good mesh of both, and most books have a little bit of humor mixed into the scarier books from Goosebumps and whatnot. Stein is a classic author in that sense. He can really hit his style just 100%, and this is a great example of him meshing both of those types of things together, the scary and the funny, and making them great. Essentially, our premise here, before I get into too much, is about our main character, Jerome, or Jerry is his nickname, really. He and his parents move into a new house in a new neighborhood, and they're kind of just doing their thing, moving in, having those issues and stuff, and when they're in the attic, they happen to find an old piano. But now, at nighttime, when Jerome goes to bed, that piano, apparently where it is up in the attic, it's like right above his bed, he can hear a lot of piano music being played, a very sad melody, as a matter of fact, being played in the middle of the night, and it kind of freaks him out. He's like, his mom only knows how to play chopsticks, his dad doesn't know how to play a lick or a note or anything, so he kind of goes up and checks it out. Before he can really see who it is, it stops. Like I said, this is kind of a ghost story in a lot of ways. It's really interesting in that regard. This is a fantastic example of a book, by the way, where you should not whatsoever read the blurb on the back of the book. Because if you read the back of the book, it's going to spoil about 75% of the story for you. Literally 75% progression into the story is literally the end of that particular blurb on the back. A lot of people ask me what's my next book I'm going to pick up or read or this or that. What am I looking forward to the least? I usually go off reputation when I talk about these things in my Q&A videos and my reviews and whatnot, because a lot of the time the reputation will tell you a lot, not so much the book's content and the blurb on the back. The blurbs are excellently written on Goosebumps. They always sound great, just like the covers always make them look great, even for the bad books a lot of the time. However, this is a situation for me where I don't think the cover is anywhere close to how good the story is, really honestly. But at the same time, it's a situation where I'm kind of let down because the blurb spoils so much, and I can't even imagine reading this book and having so much of that plot ruined for me. So if you're going to pick this up, avoid the blurb. I'm going to be as spoiler-free as I possibly can, as I always am on my channel, but I'm going to try my best to avoid the best I possibly can. Now, there's another subplot, too, where when the main character and his dad first see that piano upstairs, the first night they think they hear the piano playing up there, or at least the son does. The parents don't hear the piano playing. They go upstairs, and the dad and the son have a talk really early in the morning, and he talks about maybe the son could start doing piano lessons if he liked to, and the son's like, yeah, I mean, Jerome, our main character, is like, yeah, I'd absolutely love to do that, Dad. So next couple of days, they invite a man over named Dr. Shriek, who is a piano lessons guy, a piano teacher, whatever. I don't know why I put it the way I did, but I did, and that's fine. Anyway, Dr. Shriek comes by. He reminds the main character, Jerome, a lot of Santa Claus. He's a big white mustache, not a beard, just a mustache, guy dressing in red and whatnot, a very chubby man. And essentially, these piano lessons go very well, but one of the most interesting and weird and uncomfortable things, even as an adult, reading this, especially as an adult, and knowing the things I know about the world, this man keeps touching our main character's hands and saying, "Excellent hands." He keeps saying that and keeps flipping him over, and constantly, he could be across the room talking to the main character about something and then looking down at his hands, which are a little close to another area. It looks really weird. It's very uncomfortable. Piano Lessons Can Be Murder has some really scary imagery in it, and that would be one of those things. It's just uncomfortable, weird stuff. But the ghost story aspect is really good. I really love some of the creepier aspects involving that. Now, these two stories, again, I'm not used to seeing subplots in middle grade books a lot of the time, because a lot of the time these books are considered more simplistic because of the audience, the middle grade audience, the early middle schoolers, late elementary schoolers, that kind of group, like the 8 to 10-year-olds, 12-year-olds, somewhere in that ballpark. 12 is probably a little too old for Goosebumps now. A lot of kids don't really see any interest in it the way we did when we were kids. I mean, so is 26, so who cares? I think if you're loving these Goosebumps in general, I think you'll really like this. Piano Lessons Can Be Murder was such a fun story, and to see a main story about the haunted piano thing, and then the piano lessons being tied into that, and they kind of collide at the end, was interesting. However, and this is not a commentary about the two coming together at the end of the story, I would say there's like 5 pages of conclusional stuff towards the end of this book that I did not like at all. It was not a perfect ending, and I don't know how you could have ended it any more perfect, but it was not the most clean-cut ending that I thought it should have had. It was satisfying with the other parts of the ending. I actually do believe that. It's kind of one of those weird books out there that you have like one particular part of the ending that you're like, I don't like that. But then everything else that happens immediately after that, you're like, I really like that, and that. This is one of those books. Piano Lessons Can Be Murder was a really surprising mesh of a lot of great stuff. I never knew that this was a ghost story. Ever. No one's ever told me about that, and I thought it was a blast. I had so much fun reading this. And to come back on this review and to be so positive about it too, because I just kind of picked it up. I wanted to pick up something people kept recommending to me all the time as my first book review back, because you guys deserve that after me being gone for 2 months. I'm not the best content creator out there, but I do know that I love my audience. And I do know that I'm very blessed to have the audience I have who support me and love me and care about me too, because I love and support and care you guys too. So I want to thank you, Grayson, and everybody else who recommended this book constantly to me and kept talking about how good it was and how surprisingly good it was. You were right. I was dead wrong. I don't guess I was wrong. I was just not excited for it until I read it now. And like I said, it really knocked my boots off, man. This was a good book. I was really surprised by that. I did not expect to see this be as good as it was. And I'm kind of stuck on how to rate it, because I don't know if my rating will be too high or too low for people, and they'll be pissed one way or another, I think. This is not a popular book. I remember back in the day before I started doing my Goosebumps channel and stuff, I remember I would watch Zach Baby TV's videos, and I remember his big Goosebumps 62 book review thing that he did, kind of like Goosebumps Ozzy did. I don't know who did it first, but one of them did it. And I remember when Zach Baby TV was going through his books and rating them all, I remember he got to this, he said he didn't even finish reading it at that time years ago, like 5, 6, 7 years ago, somewhere in that ballpark. He said he didn't even like it, and then he said something to the extent of, like, he thought it was a stupid premise and whatnot. I genuinely like this. It reminds me a lot of Let's Get Invisible. If you like Let's Get Invisible, or you like this, you'll like the other one, vice versa. Because Let's Get Invisible, to me, is one of the creepier Goosebumps books. I think it has a lot of an eerie atmosphere to that story. There's just something off about it, and something weird, that really makes you hesitant when you're reading it. Something about that, something about the atmosphere, the way it's told, really makes my anxiety go up. And I don't even have anxiety, like everybody says they do nowadays, but most people don't. Don't let people tell you that. Piano Lessons Can Be Murder is one of those books that had that heighten up during the nighttime sequences and stuff. But I'm telling you, man, I had a blast with this book. It was so much fun, and it was a great read. It was a really good time. I had a great time with this. I can't even tell you enough how surprised I am and how excited I am that I got this. It was great. And there's some really horrific imagery in here too, man. There's some stuff in here that will stick with me when I think about this book. I cannot wait to see the TV episode in a little bit, because I'm going to do that before I do anything else today. My wife is going to start work for the day. I'm going to watch the TV episode, hopefully get a review either tonight or tomorrow recorded and ready to upload immediately behind this video, but not like in your time. Like, it'll be a day or two after this video and that video get recorded. Anyway, Piano Lessons Can Be Murder. What did you think about it? Put your thoughts and comments down in the comment section down below. Did this book surprise the crap out of you the way it surprised me? I was very surprised with this. If I haven't stated that enough, I can't believe I'm even on here saying something positive about this. It kind of makes me think about Chicken that Lou keeps recommending all the time, and I kind of can't help myself but wonder if maybe it ends up being decent. Maybe. It's had a really bad reputation, but so did this one. So there's some hope for the Chicken. Anyway, if I had to rate Piano Lessons Can Be Murder, even though I'm kind of stuck on how to rate this thing, I'm going to stick with giving it maybe a 4 out of 5 stars. I know it's a little high. But I really love the ghost story. I really did. I like that a lot. I think it works a lot better than people realize. And people not having this advertised to them as a ghost story, even on the back of the book in the blurb, is not telling you it's a ghost story usually. That's a huge mistake. A huge mistake. You could really honestly ruin the reputation of this book by not telling that it's a ghost story. I know there's a lot of ghost story Goosebumps books out there, but this is one of the more charming ones in my opinion, with one of the more gruesome scenes, a couple of more gruesome scenes that I've seen in old classic Goosebumps books in a long time. And man, for this to be the first Goosebumps book, to read since I've come back to the channel after my long break after Christmas, I'm going to tell you, that was a good note to start off on, man. A really good note. Anyway, what are your thoughts again? Put them down below. Thank you for watching. 4 out of 5 stars from me. Let me know if that's a little too high or too low or whatever for you. I'd love to hear all that down below. Thank you to everybody who's been recommending this to me. God bless you guys, and goodbye.